Watch the paws. Not the eyes, not the tail, the paws. Left, right. Pressing down into the soft blanket, slow and steady, like something ancient is moving through them. The claws slide out, catch a loop of fabric, slide back in, left, right. And the whole time, that low motor is running deep in the chest. Your cat is standing on your lap or on the fold of a fresh blanket, pushing down with those little pink pads over and over again, eyes half closed, somewhere far away. People call it making biscuits. And most of the folks who own a cat have watched their cat do this 1,000 times and never once stopped to ask the real question. Why? Why does a grown cat, a hunter, a creature built to kill, stand on your legs in the dark and knead like it's shaping bread that will never bake? I'm going to tell you exactly why, and it is not random, and it is not weird, and it is one of the most beautiful things your cat will ever say to you without a single sound. Now, before we go deeper, let me settle one thing, because I know how the internet talks. You've probably read somewhere that kneading is just a leftover glitch, a pointless habit, a cat being a cat with no rhyme or reason to it. And if you've got a cat that kneads a little too hard, digs those claws right into your thigh at 11 at night, you might even wonder if something's wrong with him. So here's my promise to you. By the time we're done, you'll know what every part of this means. The pushing, the claws, the purring, the drooling, even the far-off look in his eyes. And you'll know the one rare situation where kneading is telling you something you shouldn't ignore. But that situation is rare, and I want you to hear me on that. So don't go looking for a problem where there almost certainly isn't one. And what if I told you that this thing your cat does, this ordinary, overlooked, everyday thing, is actually a message that started before your cat could even open his eyes? That the answer to why he does it on your lap tonight was written into him in the very first days of his life? I'm Dr. Aurelio. I've been the old-school cat vet in this town for longer than I care to count, and I have watched more cats come into this world and leave it than I can hold in my head. And in all those years, one of the questions I get asked the most, right after the scary ones, is the small one. Doc, why does she push on me like that? People whisper it almost like they're embarrassed to ask. And I love that question, because the answer tells you something true about the animal sleeping on your chest. So let me knock down the first myth right now, the big one, the one that gets repeated everywhere. Kneading is not a sign your cat is confused. It is not a broken instinct with nowhere to go. It is one of the clearest, most honest signals of contentment a cat has in its whole vocabulary. When a cat kneads, in the vast majority of cases, that cat feels safe. That's the headline. That's the thing I want you to carry out of here. The pushing paws mean safety. They mean I am not afraid right now. And in an animal as guarded as a cat, an animal that spends most of its life scanning for threats, ready to bolt, being unafraid is not a small thing. It is close to the biggest thing there is. Here's where it comes from, and this is the payoff. So lean in. Go back to the very beginning. A newborn kitten is blind, deaf, nearly. It cannot walk, cannot regulate its own temperature, cannot do much of anything except find its mother and eat. And to eat, that kitten has to get the milk flowing. So it pushes. Tiny paws against the warm belly of the mother, left and right, pressing on the mammary glands to stimulate the milk to let down. It's called the milk tread. Every nursing kitten does it, in every litter, in every corner of the world where a cat has ever been born. It is one of the very first purposeful movements a cat ever makes in its life, before it can see, before it can walk, before it knows anything at all about the world it's landed in, it knows how to push. And the kitten does it while pressed into warmth, while safe, while full, while its mother's body rises and falls with breath and her purr rumbles down through her fur into that tiny reaching body. Pushing, warmth, milk, safety, mother. All of it braided together into one single memory in the deepest part of the brain, at the exact moment a cat learns what comfort even is. And that, right there, is the whole secret. Because your cat grew up. He got teeth, got claws, got the muscle to leap onto the counter and knock your glass onto the floor. But that first braid never came undone. So when your adult cat finds himself somewhere warm, somewhere soft, somewhere he feels completely safe, on your lap, on a thick blanket, on the sun-warm spot on the bed, that ancient wiring lights up. The body remembers being a kitten who was safe and warm and fed. And the paws start to move. Left, right. He is not asking for milk. He hasn't needed milk in years. He is doing the thing his body learned to do in the one moment of his life when he was most protected, most cared for, most at peace. He is, in the truest sense, telling you, this feels like home. Now let me give you the pieces, one at a time, because kneading isn't just one message. It's several stacked on top of each other, and each one tells you something different. The first piece is comfort and contentment, and that's the one we just uncovered. The safe and warm signal. When your cat needs a blanket before curling up on it, he's doing something close to what you do when you fluff a pillow and pull the covers up to your chin. He's settling. He's saying, this spot is good. This spot is mine. I'm going to be at peace here. Watch for the drowsy eyes, the slow blink, the way he melts down into a loaf when he's done. That's a cat who has decided the world is, for this moment, exactly right. The second piece, and this one most people miss entirely, so pay attention, is scent marking. Look at the bottom of your cat's paws. Those pads aren't just for padding around silently. Tucked between them are scent glands, little factories of smell, and when your cat needs, he's pressing his own personal signature into whatever he's pushing on, into the blanket, into your leg, into you. Now you and I can't smell a thing when this happens. To us, it's just paws on fabric. But to another cat, walking into that room hours later, your lap would practically glow. It would carry a message as clear as ink on paper. This belongs to somebody, and that somebody is not afraid here. To a cat, the whole world is a map of smells, and the smells that matter most are the ones that say mine and safe and family. So when your cat needs you, part of what he is doing is claiming you. He is marking you as belonging to his little circle, laying his personal tag over the top of you so that everything about you now says, this human is one of mine. It's the same reason he rubs his cheek on the doorframe and bumps his forehead into your ankle. He's building a home out of scent, and he's writing you into it. People spend a fortune on toys and treats trying to prove their cat loves them. And the whole time, quietly, without any fuss, the cat was signing his name into the knees of your jeans. The third piece is bonding, and this is where it gets tender. Kneading is, for a lot of cats, a social behavior aimed straight at you. A cat that seeks out your lap specifically to knead, not the couch, not the blanket, is choosing you as the safe, warm thing. The mother substitute, if you want the technical version of it, though I hate to make it sound so cold, because it isn't cold at all. Your cat sees you, in a way, as the big warm creature that keeps him safe and feeds him and never hurts him. Not exactly a parent, not exactly a friend, but something in between that cats only have a word for in the language of paws. And here's the thing that gets me every time. When a cat needs, he goes soft. He goes defenseless. His whole body loosens. His eyes half shut. His attention drifts away from the doors and the windows and every escape route a cat normally keeps track of without ever seeming to. For a wild animal, and make no mistake, that little creature on your lap is still, at the root of him, a wild animal. That is an enormous surrender. So when he climbs up and starts kneading on your chest while you're trying to watch television, understand what's happening. He is spending a piece of his day doing the most vulnerable, most trusting thing in his whole repertoire. He has decided, without deciding, that nothing bad will happen while his paws are moving and his guard is down. Right on top of you. Because you're the safe one. Because in the entire dangerous, unpredictable world he keeps one eye on all day long, your lap is the one place he doesn't have to. And the fourth piece, this is the one I promised is the most important, so here it is what the whole thing says about the bond between the two of you. A cat does not knead on someone he fears. He does not knead in a place he thinks is dangerous. Kneading requires the cat to stop scanning, to stop guarding, to let his body sink into an old and defenseless comfort. That is not something a cat gives away cheaply. So if your cat kneads on you, regularly, softly, with that faraway look, understand what you are being handed. You have earned an animal's trust so completely that his body, without him even deciding to, reaches back into the safest memory it owns and offers it to you. There are people who live with a cat for years and never get needed once. Good people, kind people, people who feed that cat and love him and would do anything for him, because that particular cat, for reasons of his own history, has never quite been able to let his guard all the way down with a human. Maybe he was a stray too long. Maybe someone was cruel to him before you ever met. Maybe he's just built cautious, and it's nobody's fault. But it means that when a cat does need you, freely, softly, without hesitation, he is doing something he was under no obligation to ever do. If yours does it, you did something right. You made a home so safe that an animal built to trust nothing decided to trust you. Sit with that for a second. That's not a small thing to have earned. So now let's answer the questions everybody actually has, the small strange details, because they all have real answers. Why the purring? Almost every cat that needs will also purr while he does it. And it's for the same reason the two are born together. Remember that first braid, the milk tread, the warmth, the mother purring overhead. The kitten needs and hears purring and feels safe, all at once, all fused. So in the adult, the two switches are wired to the same feeling, and when one flips, the other flips with it. The purr and the pause are two halves of the same sentence, and the sentence is, I am content and I am safe. When you see both together, the pushing and the rumbling, the pause and the motor going at once, you are watching a cat as happy as a cat is capable of being. There's no higher setting than that. That's the top of the dial. And it's worth knowing so you don't misread it. A cat can purr for other reasons too, in ways that aren't about joy at all. But a cat that is kneading and purring, soft-eyed, sunk into your lap, that combination doesn't lie. Nobody fakes their way into the milk tread. That's the real thing. Why the claws? This is the one that makes people wince, and I understand, because those claws are sharp and your thigh is not a blanket. Here's the truth of it. When a kitten needs its mother, the claws come out a little. It's part of the milk tread, part of getting a grip on that soft belly. It was never meant to hurt. The mother's coat and thick skin took it fine. So when your cat needs you with claws, he is not being aggressive, and he is absolutely not trying to hurt you. His body is just running the full old program, claws and all, on skin that's a lot thinner than his mother's was. Some cats need claws out, some need with the paws soft, and it often comes down to how they were raised, how intensely they nursed, and plain individual habit. A cat that needs hard with claws is frequently a cat that is extremely content. The deeper the bliss, the harder the paws go, so that little needle of pain in your leg is, in its own backwards way, the highest praise he's got. It's a compliment delivered in the most inconvenient way possible. I've had people tell me their cat attacks their lap with the claws, half annoyed, and I have to smile and tell them the truth. That's not an attack. That's adoration with poor aim. And you don't have to just grit your teeth through it. Keep those claws trimmed and rounded, and ask your veterinarian to show you how to do it right if you've never done it. The correct length and technique for your cat, not a guess. Lay a thick folded blanket or a small cushion over your lap so his paws land on that instead of your skin. Never punish him for it. Never scold, never toss him off, because to him you'd be punishing him for loving you, and he will not understand, and you'll only teach him that the safe, warm thing isn't safe after all. Redirect gently, protect your legs, and let him have his moment. Now, the drool. Some cats, while they knead and purr, will start to drool, a little wet spot spreading on your shirt. Same story. Nursing kittens drool with the anticipation and the pleasure of the milk. In the deeply content adult, that reflex can surface right alongside the paws. A drooling, kneading, purring cat is not sick. He is, if anything, so relaxed he's coming apart at the seams a little. It's messy and it's completely benign. And the far-off look, the half-closed eyes, the way he seems to be somewhere else entirely. Now you know where he is. He's back in that first warm braid. He's a kitten again for a minute, safe against something bigger and kinder than the whole hard world. And this time, the big warm safe thing is you. Let me speak to the skeptic in the room, because there's always one, and I respect him. Somebody's thinking, come on, Doc, it's just a reflex. You're dressing up a twitchy habit with a lot of sentiment. And here's my honest answer. Yes, It started as a reflex, the milk tread, pure biology. I'm not going to pretend otherwise, but the reflex only fires now when the cat feels safe. That's the part that isn't sentiment. That's just observation. Frightened cats don't need. Cats in pain don't need. Cats in a new home, tense and hiding under the bed, don't need. Not until weeks later, when the fear finally drains out of them, and one evening the paws start moving and you realize, oh, he's finally home. The reflex is real, and the meaning is real, and they don't cancel each other out. The biology is the how. The safety is the when. Put them together and you get the truth. Your cat needs because right now, in this spot, with you, he is not afraid. Call that a reflex if you want. I've watched thousands of cats and I call it happiness. But I made you a promise at the start. The rare case, the one where kneading is telling you something. So here it is, honestly, without scaring you. Kneading itself is not a problem, almost never. But a change in it can be a clue, the way any change in a cat can be a clue, because cats hide everything and speak in small shifts. If a cat that never needed suddenly starts doing it obsessively, over and over, unable to settle, restless with it, or if a cat that always needed happily now won't, and seems tense and withdrawn where he used to melt, that shift is worth your attention. Not because the kneading is dangerous, because a cat whose comfort behaviors suddenly change may be trying to self-soothe against stress or discomfort or something in his environment that's frightening him. A new pet, a move, a change in the home, or something physical you can't see. The kneading isn't the illness, it's the smoke. In those cases, you don't panic, you don't rush out into the night, but you do keep an eye on him for a day or two. And if the change sticks, or if anything else comes with it, hiding, off his food, off his routine, you call your veterinarian and let a professional look. That's the whole warning. A stable, happy, kneading cat is telling you everything's fine. It's the change from his own normal that's the message, not the kneading itself. And there's one more small thing, gentler than a warning. Some cats need more when they're anxious, the way some people bite a nail or bounce a knee, a self-comforting move to turn a nervous moment back toward that old safe feeling. That's not a crisis either. It just means your cat found the same tool you did. When the world gets uncertain, reach for the thing that once meant safe. If you notice he needs harder during storms, during chaos, during a house full of strangers, let him. He's coping the only way he knows, by pressing his paws into the memory of a place where nothing could hurt him. The kindest thing you can do is be that place. So the next time your cat climbs up in the quiet part of the evening and turns a circle and settles that warm weight onto your legs, and the paws begin, left, right, I want you to see it for what it truly is. That is not a random habit, and it is not a weird little quirk. That is an animal reaching all the way back to the first safe moment of his life, the warmth of his mother, the milk, the purr, the certainty that he was protected, and choosing, out of everything in the whole wide world, to lay that memory down on you, to sign his name into your lap with the glands in his paws, to tell you in the only language his body has ever known, that here, with you, he is finally and completely unafraid. The old-timers understood it without ever putting it into words, and every home that has ever loved a cat has felt those paws and known, somewhere underneath the knowing, that they were being trusted with something old and soft and true. So let those paws push. Trim the claws, throw a blanket over your knees, and let him make his biscuits for as long as he wants. He's telling you he's home. Now tell me, when your cat needs, does he go claws out or soft-pawed? And does he pick you or a blanket? Say so down below because I want to know whose lap got chosen.